without their all-stars. Both Kyrie and Luka were sidelined with injuries, while Morant is currently away from the Grizzlies. With this 104-88 loss, the Mavs are 34-35, putting them just below 500. So since making a blockbuster trade acquiring Kyrie Irving, the Mavericks have struggled making noise out west. The Mavs are 5-9 overall since the trade, and 3-6 when Kyrie and Luka share the floor. 8 of their 9 games together have been decided by single digits. Okay, Ryan Windhorst back here with us. Hey, Wendy. Stephen A., who is the most at stake in Dallas? Is it Kyrie, is it Luka, or is it their coach, Jason Kidd?
I would say it's Kyrie. Jason Kidd's not going to lose his job if they don't make the playoffs this year. Luka's certainly not going anywhere. It's Kyrie whose future will be up in the air because obviously he's looking to get paid, whether it's from the Dallas Mavericks or from somebody else. Now, Wendy, before I go any further, did I say anything inaccurate at that point? Is there anything about what I just said?
I wish I could disagree with you. I agree with all of it.
Right. And by the way, it doesn't sound personal, does it? Because you see, I had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to acknowledge publicly. I'm not apologizing for the fact that Kyrie and I have had our differences, but in no way does it affect my reporting on him. I talk about Kyrie Irving's basketball brilliance all the time. I talk about he's box office all the time. I talk about his greatness as a talent all the time. And I've even said that pay the man $50 million a year if you want to. If you can guarantee me that he's going to show up to work more than 50% of the time, because he's been the worst less than 50% of the time, I'm not giving him a long-term deal. These are factual things that I've stated about nothing but basketball. And this notion that you got to agree with everybody, that every reporter out there, if you're reporting on somebody, you must like them personally or dislike them personally. And that interferes with your ability to report on and disseminate facts. It's just foolhardy when they question it, they don't understand stuff. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Kyrie Irving, his future, not his future in the NBA, but his future in terms of the money that he covets is at stake. If Dallas is losing with you, how much money long-term are you going to get from them? The Lakers could come into play, all right? And the Lakers, before Rob Pelinka makes all of these moves, goes out there and puts word out that, you know what, they were definitely interested in Kyrie Irving. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be because he's so spectacular. But, Wendy, what if the Los Angeles Lakers make the playoffs? What if the Los Angeles Lakers become a top 6 seed? What if they advance in the playoffs with the roster as presently constructed, with D'Angelo Russell up for a new deal? Are we sure that that's not going to change their thinking as to whether or not they want Kyrie Irving or not? And if that's the case, that would leave Dallas in the best position to re-sign him. There's a long-standing relationship with Nico Harrison, who used to be at Nike. Love Nico, wishing him nothing but the best. Very proud of that, brother. But in the end, it all comes down to this, Wendy. Kyrie Irving might not have but so many options when it comes to the long-term money that he's looking for unless things really, really go his way. Did I say anything that is factually incorrect or personal?
No, and let me take it a step further. The reason that Kyrie took a wrecking ball to the Nets was because he wanted a contract. I'm not saying the Nets were going to do things great this year, but the reason Kyrie pressed the issue, forced a trade, was because they wouldn't give him an extension. So let's not worry about words. Let's worry about actions. I know that he took that action. So I know that that's in the back of his mind in the way he's playing right now. What Kyrie needs is leverage. He needs the Lakers to be dying for him so that they'll rip their team apart to create the space to offer him a contract, or he needs to play so well for the Mavericks that they can't even imagine a world in which they could tell Luka Doncic that they lost him. And so right now, Kyrie is losing the leverage game. He is not playing well enough. They are not winning enough. And the Lakers look like that this new alignment, even without LeBron, is making progress. But we are only in March. There is time left. Kyrie could rally. The Lakers could fall apart. It is still there for him. But he wants those multiple years, Stephen A., and he's got to have a certain series of events to happen for it to get it.
Wendy, I will say this. He is playing well enough. Averaging 27, 51% shooting from the field, 41% from three-point range. I think he's playing well enough. The results aren't good enough because they're losing more than they're winning. but he's doing what he was brought there to do. And I think he deserves credit for that. But in the end, if you're doing what you're doing and y'all are still not winning games, then that might be justification for not paying you what you want to get paid.
Okay.
That's all that's going on with Kyrie.
But
he's doing his job. He just has to play well and often.
Yep.
Can't miss more than 50% of his games.
All right, and I'm going to catch my second Wendy. By the way, I love that graphic. It makes me smile every time I see it. With Brian Windhorst and the Hoop Collective, and, of course, always on NBA Today. Wendy, thank you so much.
Oh, man. Well, I think I'm still going to lean the Memphis Grizzlies. And for me, it's a relatively simple equation. That's a team that still has an ability to defend at a high level, even though they're missing 3 key guys potentially. And the Steven Adams thing is particularly curious, as we're not expecting him now until the postseason at best. But they still have a constitution there in terms of a defensive identity. I have been puzzled flat out by the decision that the Mavs made because they gave up so much. And as much, befuddled's a good word, right? As much as they can score when they are healthy and whole, I just think a shootout in the Western Conference is dangerous. At some point, somebody has to get a stop, and I still think the Memphis Grizzlies have the pieces to be able to do that.
Perk, where do you fall on this?
I disagree with Monica so bad for the simple fact that, look, I love what Dylan Brooks has been doing for us being the emotional leader. Steven Adams being out is huge. Jaren Jackson, I still have to see him stay out of foul trouble consistently and be on the floor. And look, Desmond Bane's right. He's going to get a big payday. He has upped his game, but he's still not in that star or superstar caliber. You have that in Dallas. You have Kyrie Irving. Luka is going to be back. Just those 2 guys alone are a problem. And I would have to give the nod to them over the Memphis Grizzlies for the simple fact you're looking at 2 of the best isolation players in the game today. The other pieces, hey, it is what it is. But I also trust Jay Kidd. I trust Jay Kidd and his demand of actually getting the best of what he can out of this roster on the defensive end. So if I had to decide between the 2, I'm going with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks over this Memphis Grizzlies team that don't have Ja Morant right now and don't have Steven Adams.
I'm going to go alongside with you, Per. I'm sorry, Monica. She wants to jump in. Go ahead, Monica. She got to defend
But
herself.
Dallas is not healthy right now either, but go ahead. My only thing was neither team is healthy right now. But continue. Go ahead,
But
Ramon.
look, to me, I'd go.
No, my only thing is Dallas is not healthy right now either.
That's true. Well, Luka's not healthy, Kyrie not healthy, but I'll always go with the 2 superstars who have carried teams by themselves, and now they are together. Like, I've seen Luka Doncic carry a team in the playoffs all the way to the Western Conference Finals last year. We've seen Kyrie Irving carry the Brooklyn Nets, carry teams that he has been on, and so I'll roll with those 2 guys right now ahead of the Grizzlies just because of the cloud of uncertainty around Ja Morant, around Steven Adams. And this is coming from somebody who picked the Grizzlies to win the West at the beginning of the preseason. So it's not like I don't believe in them. I just think right now the uncertainty around them is too high.
Yeah, if all of the questions are answered, then I might, on both sides, then I might be rolling with the Grizzlies. But as it's presently constructed, the Mavericks, again, befuddled a little bit, but I have this belief. Maybe it's too much like the Warriors. Oh, they're going to figure it out. There's too much talent. They're going to figure it out. We're not going to know tonight who has the higher ceiling, but we do have a very special.
Fox, crossover. Fox goes, hangs and scores.
Head of the curve. For me to put pen down the paper, you got to show me that you know what I'm worth.
Don't miss your chance to shout, Kings Nation. Their 40th win of the season. Did you hear me on that? Their 40th win of the season.
Clearly, that fan at Summer League, he was on to something because the Kings have now won 40 games for the first time since 2005, 2006. It just so happens to be the last time they made the playoffs. However, 7 teams, they do have shorter odds to win the West than Sacramento, which is a little bit wild that they're even behind the 11th place Lakers at 30-1. This is why.
Wow.
This is why I don't.
Oh, that's going on some bulletin boards up there.
All right. Some folks were high on the Kings. I don't think anyone had them, though, as a 2 seed in the West. I agree with you, Mona. It's going on a bulletin. Most teams have around 15 games left in the season, so I want some bold predictions for the remainder of the NBA season here. Perk, you want to start us off? Be big. Be bold.
Absolutely. You know what? when a person show you who they are, we have to believe them. And the Sacramento Kings have the 5th best record in the league, 2nd best record in the Western Conference, and we are still doubting them. We're still talking about they don't have the experience. They ain't doing this. But guess what they do have? They have De'Aaron Fox, who's an all-star, who's one of the best closers in the fourth quarter in the game today. They have Sabonis, who's one of the best bigs in the game today outside of Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, and Anthony Davis. They also have Harrison Barnes, who is a champion, who is a knockdown three-point shooter, a 3-and-D guy. They have Keegan Murray, who has an old soul, baby. He does all the things and more, bringing the intangibles, knocking down threes, playing with a high IQ. They have Malik Monk coming in off the bench. They can serve you a 40-piece. They have a well-coached team led by Mike Brown. Why don't we believe in them? They are going to the Western Conference Finals this season. They are. I don't know if that's a bold prediction, but damn it, I'm jumping off the ledge. They're going to the Western Conference Finals.
Somewhere, Mark Jones is nodding his head and saying, yes, Perk. That is absolutely what's going to happen. Ramona, can you top that in terms of boldness?
Oh, no, I definitely cannot be more bold than that, unless you want to beam me up something. Like, I'm going to go with your New York Knicks, okay? Just caught them in L.A. And it was, like, this is the second night of a back-to-back, okay? They